Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on where you are in the world. This is Gloria White, and I'm coming to you from Utah, USA. Today, I want to cover some prepping items that I think are essential, and it has nothing to do with food. These are things that are for personal hygiene and little boo-boos and things like that. So, I know that the disinfectant wipes are hard to come by, and I do have some here that are just a store brand. Whoops! Technical difficulties. Please stand by. Okay, there we go. Okay, these are just a store brand, and you can use these. But if you don't have these, don't fret. Maybe you can get some of these. And no, they're not disinfectant wipes, but if you were to pour this alcohol into this container through the little flap here and just fill it up until these napkins are kind of soppy wet and contain all this alcohol. Of course, not going to put the whole bottle in there, but enough to make these kind of soppy wet. And then you can use these as disinfectant wipes. So you don't necessarily have to have the specific disinfectant wipes. And please pay attention when you buy those disinfectant wipes. Some of the stores that are selling their brand of disinfectant wipes do not kill viruses. They only kill bacteria. So if you're looking to kill a virus, you're going to want, rubbing alcohol, hydrogen peroxide, or bleach. So that's just one idea for having wipes to, clean your hands and stuff. Wipe off maybe the basket handle if the store is out of its little things. I also use those wipes to wipe out things I bring from the grocery store. Now, some of the other things that we are going to need. Just everyday stuff. Get something in your eye. You're going to want to have some eye wash so that you can rinse your eyes out and get whatever has gotten in your eyes out of your eyes. So that would be important because being able to see is critical. Suppose you get the sniffles. Well, or you get a chest congestion. This is like Vicks Rub. The different stores sell their brands. And it's also good for mosquito repellent. And also for burns. And it has several purposes. And so if you pick up a little jar of this, and this stuff goes such a long ways. So it's a very good investment. It's pretty cheap. How about some vitamins? Your kids, for yourself. I take these. These are, they're for kids, but it's not necessarily just kids. There's also dosage amounts on the back here for adults, so the adults can take these as well. And I take these, and I think they're very good. They're the Flintstones Complete. The gummies don't have as many vitamins and minerals and stuff like that in them, so I don't buy those. It's just a waste of money. Then you may run into some kind of bugs, be it mosquitoes, bees, or flies, gnats, different things that could come at you and make you very miserable and your children miserable. So get some good mosquito repellent. I think this is very important. Okay. Now, suppose you get a bunch of bug bites. You can actually use this baking soda and mix a little with vinegar and pat it on the bites, and it helps draw out the venom, the poison. It's not for snake bites, but you can use it for that. This you can also put in a tub of water, and it will help with relieving sunburn. And of course, there's lots of things you can do in the kitchen, but I'm not talking about the kitchen today. So that's just some of the uses for this. Then there's these little cotton pads. They're like $1 at the Dollar Tree. And you can use these to clean a wound or a sore of some kind in the event that you don't have gauze or something expensive. But the thing about having cuts, even a small cut, when you're not able to bathe every day, or you're not able to, go wash your hands, maybe the water's not on, or, the water that you have stored, you're trying to save it for food. But a little tiny scratch can become so infected that it can cause blood poisoning. And that can cause a systemic, or it can get into your blood and kill you. So don't ignore those little cuts because you think, oh, it's just a little cut. Well, there's been plenty of people die from just a little cut in the pioneer days. So, and we may actually wind up back in that kind of situation. Bar soap is very good. I have a bunch of this on hand, and it's an antibacterial soap, so that will help. If you have a little wound, you can wash it with soap and water, which is good. And also, hydrogen peroxide is good for superficial cuts. Do not use this on puncture wounds. It's not a good idea. And if you can, get yourself a first aid manual on how to treat basic injuries. I personally am a trained emergency medical technician, and I don't have any of the kinds of things that would assist me with, say, a gunshot wound in the stomach or, a spine injury, but I could improvise for those things. But a basic first aid book, so you know what to do. If somebody's finger's out of the joint, if their knee comes out of the socket, if they've got a cut or a gash in their leg, how to apply pressure, to put a bandage on it. Perhaps you don't even have any gauze. You can use t-shirts. I would prefer if they were clean, but even if they aren't clean, it's important to stop the bleeding. So when you apply a bandage, and you're going to hold pressure on it, steady pressure. Now, if it doesn't stop bleeding, do not remove the bandage that you put on it, okay? You want to add another bandage on top of that and continue holding pressure. If necessary, you may need to find an artery and put pressure on that. But these are the things that you may find in a good first aid book. And it could save a life if you have that. And it wouldn't hurt for you to read it before you need it. So, and then of course you're going to want toilet paper. Now, when we first ran into this COVID-19 pandemic, toilet paper disappeared. And we were at every store trying to find some. And buying up tons and tons of toilet paper. Well, it's a good idea to have some of this put back, depending on how big your family is. Just count how many rolls you use a week and multiply that times a year, so that you can, have it put back for, say, a year's worth of toilet paper. Okay, speaking of the use of toilet paper, now these are little pet bags that you can pick up doodles behind your pets. The other thing you can do is pick up doodles behind yourself, and they're quite large. And I recently got a box of these. They're Frisco brand. And I got a box of these with like 20 rolls or something. It was, I don't know, there's more than 20 rolls in there. I don't remember how much. But I paid $20 for the box of them, and there are tons of these bags in there. Now, say the toilet isn't working, the toilet's stopped up, and you have to, go in the backyard and do your business. Well, you can pick this up. Simply put your hand inside the bag, pick up the doodle, turn the bag inside out, holding the doodle. You can tie it up and still keep a somewhat sanitary environment for your health. It's going to be something you may have to think about and have to use. And these aren't that expensive, and there's tons and tons of them in here. You could also use this as a glove in an emergency to do something, and put things that need to be kept waterproof should you have to be in the elements. They would hold a roll of toilet paper. They would hold a box of Band-Aids, some Neosporin, some of those things. Things that you don't want to have get wet. Now, I didn't pull out any female products here, but that's something that you're going to want to stock up on as much as toilet paper. Okay? Because the alternative would be sheets and wash them. So you don't want to have to go there. And so, in addition to getting toilet paper, any female products that you will need or that you use, think about how many you use every month and put that back times 12. Okay? So if you can stack it back for like 12 months, you shouldn't run out and you should be just fine. And then, let's see, Vaseline. Vaseline is really good. It helps protect your skin from like wind chafing. It's good to put on some cuts, say you get a brush into a tree or something, and it's not something that you really need to put a Band-Aid on, but you want to clean it up, and you can put some of this petroleum jelly over the scratches to keep any dirt and stuff out, and this is waterproof. There's another thing you can do with this is you can make fire with this. If you have something that's dry, like a Kleenex or a cotton ball or a little wad of dry grass or something, if you put a little dab of this in and set it on fire, your fire will go really well. And I've been saving the centers out of these bags. They're little cardboards. And I plan on packing them with a little bit of toilet paper and some Vaseline for fire starters. It's important to stay warm. So if you can get a thermal blanket, one of those little aluminum looking thermal blankets, that would be good to have. I don't have any of those, or I'd have one here to show you. So hydrogen peroxide. You can also use this with a little baking soda to brush your teeth. And it will get your teeth nice and clean and keep your, it also will freshen your breath. Do not swallow this. If you use this to brush your teeth, spit it out and rinse your mouth. Okay? Lysol disinfectant. We still can't find this here in Utah. It just hasn't come here yet. I'm down to probably maybe a third of a can at this point, and I've had it since the beginning of the COVID, and this just flew off the shelves and hasn't come back. So if you can get your hands on some of this, this will be great for cleaning the air. You're going to want your shampoo so you can clean your hair. And you may use cream rinse as well. And so you'll want to make sure you have this. I didn't pull my toothbrush and my toothpaste out, but you're going to want extra toothbrushes and toothpaste. But like I said, you can use baking soda with a little peroxide, wet your toothbrush, stick it in the baking soda, and then put a little bit of the hydrogen peroxide and then brush your teeth. And that'll clean your teeth as an alternative to having toothpaste. Band-Aids. You're going to want Band-Aids in different sizes. I have a box that I just ordered. It's in a box in the back room. But if you get different size Band-Aids, ones for little cuts and bigger cuts and even bigger cuts. And then if you can get gauze and some adhesive tape so that you can cover a wound with that would be great. And the other thing you can do is if you don't have waterproof bandages, which I suggest you get some, and if you have a large wound, and so you've put this gauze on and you've taped it up and it looks great, but if it rains, then it's going to get wet and you're going to need to change it. Well, if you have a roll of plastic wrap, you can wrap around the leg and then tape that on, which will preserve and protect the bandage that you've applied. So you'll want to have that. Kleenex. Kleenex are a good idea. They're a backup to toilet paper. They're great for having for runny noses and stuff. And should you run into any grief, you'll appreciate having some Kleenex. I call them Kleenex. They're facial tissues, whatever. I still call paper towels Scott towels because I was a kid when they first came out and that's all it was. So now some mouthwash, antiseptic mouthwash is good should you get like an infection in a tooth or something. I wouldn't use this every day. I wouldn't be that concerned about bad breath. But you can also use this to clean scratches and stuff. It'll burn, but it does a good job. I had wanted to get just the small bottle of Dr. Tishner's antiseptic, but they don't sell that anymore. They've figured out that if they make mouthwash, which uses a whole lot less of that, they could sell it for a whole lot more. Now, what if you have someone who gets constipated, which is a real possibility when, you're not having water in a great supply, or say you're having to travel and you're sweating a lot and you're not rehydrating yourself. Well, getting constipated is a real possibility. So this is something, it's magnesium citrate, and you should have a bottle or two of this on hand, or a box of laxative that you could use to clear up that problem, because it can get serious. You could actually get a blockage that would require medical attention, and I would pray and hope that that would be available to you. Also, cleaning things. This, I was so surprised that I was able to get this because, like I said, Lysol stuff has just disappeared off of the shelves. But it kills germs and it cleans nicely and it has a nice scent. But if you have some kind of all-purpose cleanser that kills germs, that would be good to have on hand. And some Scott towels, paper towels. And this is just something that's a bathroom cleaner, because it would be nice to be able to keep things clean and reduce the risk of catching some kind of disease or illness from poor living conditions. where things aren't really necessarily, you know, like it would be when you were keeping your house. Now, mask. I know there's a lot of controversy about mask. I do believe the virus is real. I don't believe that they're reporting accurate numbers. I think that the testing is a joke. But this mask will protect you from inhaling the virus. It's an N95 mask. And so this kind of mask, this mask that's made out of cloth, will not stop you from inhaling the virus. But what it does, it keeps, if you have the virus, it keeps it from getting out to other people. But they say this is like 30% effective protecting yourself. Now, if you should get one like this, that you can put a filter type, some type of filtration inside of it, that would make it more effective. It's not going to be as effective as this. This fits tightly around your face, so no air comes in from around the sides on this mask. I also have a video on how to properly put that on and fit it to yourself. The other thing about some of these is that they have a little piece of something stiff in here that you can bend to fit over your nose so that it will, I don't know if you can see how it's bent, so that you can fit it over your nose better to block more air from coming around the sides. And these that expand can go way under your chin. So I think that these are a lot thicker and better than the little blue surgical mask. Some people have trouble breathing in these. If that's a problem, wear the lightest weight mask you can if you want to wear a mask. And if you are having trouble breathing, then get out of the store. Get out of where you are and go outside and breathe some fresh air. People have passed out from this and have had heart attacks from wearing these masks because it's such a strain on their system to be able to get enough oxygen. It's like being suffocated for some people. So be careful with these things. I only wear it when I'm going to be out in the public with other people, and a bunch of them, you know. And especially I put one on when I go to the doctor's office, simply because I don't want to take a chance of getting ill. I'm 67 and I have some health problems. So I just try not to expose myself to this virus, even though they are exaggerating the numbers. It's a shame, but that's what they're doing. Now, you're going to want to have a way to wash your clothes. So you're going to want some laundry detergent, and that way you can clean your clothes. And that way you'll be cleaner and more healthy. Clorox bleach. Doesn't have to be Clorox, but it does need to kill 99.9% of germs. The Clorox splashless bleach does not really kill anything. It's more like a Clorox 2 where it brightens and whitens and makes things smell good. So don't make the mistake to buy that. Make sure you get the real deal. Regular Clorox bleach. Okay. Well, that's about all I have. And down below, if you think of something else that would be beneficial to folks, please put it in the comments down below. The other thing is antibacterial salve. You know, something like Neosporin, a triple antibiotic salve. Something like that that you can put over a wound that will help protect it. And once you clean a wound with hydrogen peroxide, or you wipe it down with a antiseptic mouthwash, or however it is you clean it out, you can also put this over the bobo, and it will help protect it. It's not antibacterial, but it is a protection, and it'll help the wound heal faster. So these are just some of the things that I have here as ideas for things that are not food related, but things that are important to keep in mind for hygiene and in various healthcare. And I really can't emphasize enough, get a first aid book, a good first aid book. You don't know what you could run into and whether or not you can get to a doctor in an emergency. You know, if there's an earthquake or there's a flood or there's a volcano or there's a bomb or there's a, you know, plague that's so bad that the hospitals are overrun and you have a medical emergency, but you can't get into the hospital. Know what to do. It could save a life. And I encourage everyone to get CPR training. It's, it teaches you the 3 ABCs: airway, breathing, and cardiac, bleeding and cardiac. So you can check, it'll teach you how to make sure that someone's airway is open, what to do if they're bleeding, and how to perform CPR. So, hope that's helpful to everyone. I love you guys, and I hope that you're preparing for whatever you can prepare for, as my friend, and I'd like to shout out my friend Reagan. He's Southern Boy Prepper. And then I'd also like to point out, shout out my friend Les and Teresa, and they're on Homestead Do It Yourself with L&T. And then there's also Mr. Tom, and he is Deep South Bama with Mr. Tom. And he knows an awful lot about gardening. Southern Boy Prepper has started a homestead. Les and Teresa, they're doing homesteading and working full-time jobs, and Southern Boy Prepper's working a full-time job. And so they're learning how to can, and they're showing videos of how to can and what they've canned, and they could be a resource to you if you're just starting out canning. They could, help you with some advice, and then Alaska Prepper, and some people accuse him of fear-mongering. Well, if the truth is fear-mongering, then you'll love Alaska Prepper if you can recognize that preparing and telling people the truth about situations that are happening in our country, world history in regards to famines, and ideas for prepping, different types of equipment that would be beneficial to you as a prepper. He also does videos on how to can, how to make an easy bread, how to he does a lot of does comparison, or he reviews a lot of products, foods and equipment, flashlights, generators, things like that. So it's a very informative channel, and he is an apolitical guy. You're not going to hear him boast and go Trump or go Biden. You're not going to hear that on his channel. But he does dig deep into things that are going to affect the economy, things that have affected the economy in the past, what he thinks the future is going to look like. But don't ask him what you should do with money you have in the bank, or should you buy gold, or should you get food. He's not going to advise you and tell you what to do, but he gives you enough information that you can take that information and go look around and do some research yourself, so you can best know how to help you and your family or yourself. And Les and Teresa, Les just put in a well with an auger. And he lives in Texas, and he had to go down to about 25 feet to put in a hand pump, so in the event that they lose the city water, that they'll still be able to get to water. And the reason that he's doing that is because during the hurricane that they had, and the power was out for like 21 days, and they were having to go down to the local swimming pool to get 5-gallon buckets of water to flush their toilets. And then they had to buy bottled water in order to have water to drink and cook. So he put that in, and I thought that was just a brilliant idea. I mean, that's like prepping in the extreme, I think, but very important. You can't really do much without water. You can only live 3 days without water, and then you're going to die. You can go a lot longer than that without food. But people, please think about the things that I've laid out here for your benefit, to kind of spark your mind to get going, to think of the things that you know that your family needs, or what you use medically, or for hygiene, or personal care products, and try to get those things. An ace bandage would be a great thing to pick up, a sprained ankle or a sprained wrist. Um, so put your thinking caps on. And folks, if you have any further ideas, please put them down below. And may God bless us and keep us. And I will tell you, the most important prepping is to prep for eternity. God bless you all. I love you.